Okay, so good evening everyone. Welcome to today's class. Um, I hope we enjoyed. What should I say? Should I say the last class or the tax or I don't know how many of us because I can't use the what's it called the responses for the tax to judge those who are actually practice or are practicing and I would like to actually emphasize the importance of practicing. If you don't practice, then there's no way we're going to actually get better. So, I don't know how many of us like have been practicing, try to lay our hands on especially the last class that was conditionals, right? Yeah, it's if we did a lot of a lot of should I call it manipulation with um, the if function. Of course, like it's a bit if you don't get it immediately, I understand because it's a bit complex. You need to insert, do a nested inside another nested, and all of that. So I perfectly understand that. So how many of us was able to lay hands on it? I don't know. Can feel free to talk. Why do you have to have it? Thought I added everybody to the call. Probably missed the email. Alright, so I'm listening. Temu Temu. I think I like to call it that.
I can hear you.
Yeah, were you able to lay your hands on if statements, if nested
Come
if?
again.
Can you hear me very well?
Yes, I can.
Yes, I said were you able to lay your hands on like practice probably after the class?
Yes, I did. But the last I did first, second, and third. Sorry, second and third. I was not able to do that. So
Okay, alright.
this week I'll cover the last and the first.
Okay. Um alright,
But I did
so
them highly.
okay, no problem, that's cool. Thank you for doing that. Alright, so I think I'll just try. So, does there any issues actually so far with uh the with working with the ifs function? Anybody? Any issue? Tito, Ayobami, Kingsley, Chinere, Yes. Anybody?
Good evening.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay, so like I said the last time, um, I was busy with work, so I was unable to practice this weekend. So, but I hope this week I'll continue to practice.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Did anybody practice? If you did practice, you can just unmute and say no. If you practice, you can just say yes.
Actually, I didn't practice as well because after our last class last Saturday, last time, I think that was Friday or thereabout, Wednesday, right?
Yeah. No, Thursday
So
actually.
yeah, Thursday. So we didn't have lecture on Friday.
Yeah, we didn't.
So last weekend I was hella busy. So I didn't practice to be honest. But I tried to practice today, but I couldn't finish it because of work schedule.
Okay, cool.
So thank you.
All right. Just so that all that we are doing will not go to waste. That's why I'm taking my time like this because you are learning. Of course, yes, you get it, but until you have lay your hands on it, there are some errors, there are some blocks that you face that you won't know that are there until you have actually attempted it. That's why I'm emphasizing this. And I think last class, before we rounded up, I was talking about using the if statement to uh, do something like this. Um, so we're looking at a market company, if I remember clearly, where they have targets, and I think these were the targets and these were the results. So I don't know anybody that was able to do that. If no one attempted it, I'm not going to attempt this. Using that is, I'm probably going to add it to the tax. Actually, it's supposed to be like the practice. I'm just supposed to lay hands on it, but I don't think
The
anyone.
thing is,
Okay,
the thing is,
yes,
when I was watching the video again, this thing
yes.
was not there.
Which
Got
parts?
to like 4 minutes and the video pause
The video cuts. Oh,
towards the end of the like last 4 minutes, the video pause. So I didn't get the information at all.
okay. I think for this part, I think we had ended the class, had stopped the recording. Then that's when this came up. I think that was probably what must have happened actually. Yeah, I think we had ended the class. Then this came up actually. So let's see. Should I not? Should I? It's pretty simple actually. It's straightforward with what we did last time. If so, the idea was so I'm going to be saying this for the record for the purpose of the class since it's recorded. So the idea behind this was oh, somebody's on my sheets. Um, a market company, like I said, that has marketers and the whole have targets, and this is like
I'm saying that I got your question for the data was not included because it was hanging. Yes.
I can't hear it clearly actually. You got my question about the data. That was where I lost. Okay, the question was audible. Yeah. Okay, your laptop was hanging. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. I think I'll probably drop the requirements for um data, a good spec, like a specification for a laptop for data analysis. I think someone asked me my DM, and I think I saw it somewhere online to where some questions were being asked about what kind of spec is required for
So you're
data
not getting it's not my
analysis.
laptop that was hanging. It was the recording that was hanging towards
Okay.
the last 4 minutes.
Eh, wow. Okay, that's strange. All right, don't worry, we'll fix it up later. I'll check it out. Okay. So I'll just do a revision with this and probably move on from there. So I think what we ended with was nested if. So we mentioned that if is a logical function. Oh, sorry, a conditional function. A logical function is a function that returns true or false. So then a conditional function is a function that takes in a condition after evaluating a statement is true or false. So it takes on it does a particular thing. And what we implemented with was using a simple if statement, something like this. So I think we decided to use something very simple, and we decided to use the uh, market example, so that if um, these items were at this price, you get there, else you get the last two, and if the last two is not available, you get the last one. and if the last one is not available, then you probably don't get anything. So that was the example that we used actually. And so the syntax is very simple. So if so you put in your statements, then it takes in the criteria, like whatever you're evaluating. So how do I do this? So let me say statements. Yeah, statements. So then if its statement is true, that's if true, sorry, if true, then if false. So the way it is if it is true, do that, do this. If true, do this statement. Then if this statement is true, it will evaluate whatever you have in true. If it is false, if the statement is false, it will evaluate whatever you have in false. And what's my network? I'm having these issues with mine. Sorry, are you still with me? My screen is trying to connect. Oh. Hello? Can you guys see my screen? I don't know what's wrong with my network today. It's horrible. Hello? Sorry, please, if you can hear me, just kindly indicate. Wow. Okay. What network is coming back?
I think we lost the speaker.
Yes, we can hear you now, but initially we can't hear. I can't hear
Okay,
anything.
sorry.
But we can hear now.
I don't know, my network is terrible today. Alright, sorry. Can you guys hear me now?
You can.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, I can hear you now.
alright, I'm really sorry about that. My network is extremely terrible today. I don't know why. Okay, so I was trying to revise. Okay, I don't know where you guys lost me, so I'll just start afresh. So I was talking about the if statements, the syntax for the if statements, how sorry, the if function, it takes in the statements, and you have whatever you have here first evaluate as true. So if this statement is true, the first option will be evaluated, then the next one will be evaluated. That's the third option. Yeah, the first, or let's say the second option. The first option will be evaluated if the statement is false. So basically this is the syntax behind the if function, but then you can now have an if function inside another if function, which is what we actually had in the last class that had a nested if. So in this example where we have a market strategy, so what would be our base here is if so the target will probably be a value too. So let's say the value is going to be in R32. So that will be like target, so that when the target is greater than or equals to what we have here, then to tell you that oh good. If it's not greater than, if it is up to this, then it is re-strategize. If it is not up to this, if it is here, then it is demoted. and if it is below 5,000, that's good. So basically you're now going to have an if statement inside another if. So that's like to extend that. So let me just, so let's say target is, let's assume, of course target will be changing, so let's assume first of all target is 15,000. So we have something like this, but let's implement our if function here. So let's put it here. So that's s3. So we'll go ahead and do if, and we begin. Like I said, it's very important that as you're opening, you are closing. Actually, as you're opening your if statements, you are closing. As you're opening your parentheses, we call them parentheses actually, you are closing it immediately so that it will not get cumbersome and you are lost. So the expression here is the first one is if that's if the target, sorry, so that will be this is greater than what we have here, right? So if what we have here is greater than, if it is, that's it will return a good. We can even decide to return the self values actually.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, can you increase your fonts, please? I can barely see.
Oh, okay, sorry.
All right. Okay.
Thank you very much for bringing it out to my notes. Okay, I hope it's now visible. So so I said we are going to be using the self value since we already have it here. So if it is greater, then good, right? That's true. Then if false, we're now going to put another if statement. That's if this. So if it is false, so then we now check again. Sorry, and here is supposed to be greater than or equals to actually, yeah. So if the target, that's this f32, is greater or equals to this, then what do? We strategize. If it is not, you put in another if, you open and you close, then you check if the target is also greater than or equals to 5,000. So if it is true, you demote. If it is not true, then it is below, then you what? You quit. And that should be it. Enter. So you get good. And so let's begin to reiterate this. So let's assume we are changing this to 1,000, and let's do above 7,000. That's to strategize. Can you see it's just updating by itself automatically? Then if it's below, let's say 5,000 on the dots, that's demoted. And if it is not within that range, if it is 1,000, that's quit. So that's like just a fast implementation of that. Like that's just it in a bit actually. So you can see it's nothing really difficult actually. So that's just it. So basically that's just bits. There's nothing really much about it. It's nothing complex. You can see I just did it in, I don't know. So moving on. So of course I was supposed to give an explanation to some terms. So the first term I'll be defining today as part of the terms that we're supposed to talk about is an outlier. So okay, let me use new sheets. I think we've done a lot of work on that sheet actually. Sheet tab. I think I like to do 150. Then reduce this. Yeah, so outlier. So that's how outlier is spelled this. And so basically what an outlier is I would like to use an example. It's more straightforward that way. So you have a data For instance, you have age, and age is a numerical data. So you have age, and of course the ages are actually meant to be from, probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to, let's say, maybe 200. Let's assume we have someone that's 200. Okay, do you have the oldest man on earth around 700 something? So when you now begin to have things like, you know maybe you are collecting a certain data now for a group of people, and the collected group of people is around maybe from 18 to 40 years. Now when you begin to have ages like 0, 1, 2, or ages like 50, or let's say 100, 111, 200, those data are actually deviated. They are not in the same pattern of the data that you are collecting. So in that kind of case, that can be considered as an outlier. So what an outlier basically is, there are data points that deviate from your pattern of data you currently have, or distribution of data basically. So your distribution of data is, considering the situation now, from 40 years to from 18 to 40. Now when you begin to have data like 1 years, 2 years, those data are considered as outliers. They are deviating from your data, and you hardly see very little of them there. Maybe you see like maybe 8%, or sometimes 2%, depends. But in that situation, you just have little of them at the extreme end. So they put them when they are at the very extreme, they are referred to as outliers. Then we have, so when we're talking about statistics, right? We are data analysts. So let's start referring to ourselves as data analysts. So when we are talking about statistics, we have there's descriptive statistics and there's inferential statistics. So descriptive statistics, and put it here, so that's for the purpose of our view, statistics, and inferential statistics. So when we're talking about descriptive statistics, these are data that actually that describe these are measures, or should I say operations that define your data. Basically, they're like characteristics of your data sets, basically. So there are things that you can actually see from those data, like the mean that you can observe. Yes, let me put it that way. So you can observe average. You can observe, okay, in a class, let's say you have a class data and you have 40 students in a class, and maybe you have 30 females and 10 males. In that situation now, you're observing that you have more females than males. So those are like observations. So like mean, median, mode. So those are like descriptive statistics that you can get from your data. Then when we're not talking about inferential statistics, so these are like, okay, drawing conclusions from your data or making predictions basically. So in a class, let's say we have a school data basically, and in every class we found out that there are always more in every term, let's say, there are always more females than males. So in that kind of situation now, we could say that, okay, based on statistics, you have found out that you have more females. So you can draw conclusions or make predictions that, okay, maybe the next term there's going to be more females in all of the classes based on statistics. So those inference you are drawing, you're actually drawing them from the descriptive. You can actually draw them from the descriptive statistics that you have. But this time around, you're not just describing, you are making inference, you are drawing conclusions, you are making predictions. So I think those are the 2 terms that we can, or 3, that can hold on to for today. So moving on, so we are going to be working with text data basically. So we have been doing a lot of functions, and our functions have been applied to numbers, to numerics. So we are going to be doing a little bit with text data. So I'm going to clean this off. Just needed this for. So now the text data, most of the data we are going to be collecting, yeah, we're going to have text data in them actually, and those text data are basically not going to be, they might not be well formatted actually, they might not be well inserted, right? So we need some functions to be able to, modify those data and transform them into what is suitable for us actually. So let me see, do I have any data here? I think I had one. The ones I have currently are all clean actually, and I don't want us to use a clean data. I want us to use something raw, if you don't mind. Okay, I guess we just have to generate our data basically. So let's look at names. Let me see what else. Let me go and steal data. It's allowed. So I actually have data here, like I said. This data is clean, and I have another one here. So okay, let me pick this. I think I'll just pick a subset of this data. Okay, let me just pick the name and just perform magic with it. So these are names. Let me see. Okay, states or country. I think I saw a country. So we are just going to fill this real quick. So please unmute. I need us to respond so know that this class is actually active. So I need countries. We've done this before.
Yeah. Kelly, USA.
Okay, USA. Yes.
Australia.
Okay, Australia. I'm going to miss some spellings. Okay. Yeah.
Netherlands.
Netherlands.
New Zealand.
Netherlands. Okay, New Zealand. New Zealand.
Canada.
Someone said Canada. Canada.
South Africa.
South Africa. Yeah.
Nigeria.
I was expecting that someone would mention Nigeria.
Ghana.
Okay, Ghana. Yeah. Okay.
Cameroon.
Cameroon. I think I got it.
Rwanda.
China.
Rwanda. China. Yes.
China.
Almost done. I think I have one in my head. Sudan.
Saudi Arabia.
Iran. Okay. Saudi Arabia.
Russia.
Kenya.
Kenya.
Mexico.
Russia. I'm supposed to have Russia here. Anyways.
Ukraine. Ukraine.
France. Just
You let me put France. France.
for Francis.
Okay. All right. Good. So this is enough. I think you can deal with this. So so basically we can see something from here. This data is not well properly. You can see our countries are actually somehow. So we have text functions. So if I come here, let's go back. I think we always still remember this text. So there are some functions here that, of course, they are much, but there are some important ones that we're going to be using. They're actually important, that we'll be using most of the time actually. So One of them is proper. Let me put them here. Proper. Yes, proper. So what proper does is proper basically helps it changes the case. It makes the case so a proper case um from elementary school. A proper is the first letter will be capitalized while the rest of the letters will be in lowercase. So the first one is in uppercase while the rest of them is in lowercase. So that's usually like a good format for data. So in this case, to use the proper function, um, so we are going to have correct. Should I say corrected, or should I put it? Let me put this country in small c. Then this one will be in capital C. So we can even start from here. So in this situation now, I can just put proper, call the function proper, and put in what we have here and enter. So if you can see, it has automatically done the rest for us. And if you just want to extend what you have here, you can just draw this down. Okay, sorry, I didn't draw it down. I cheated actually. So what I did instead was I double clicked on this. Usually we know you just draw down and it takes it down, but in the situation where you have so many rows, you can't be dragging up and down. So what you just do is double click. So double clicking on that will translate all this, whatever function is here, to the rest, to the bottom of the colon actually. So that's the cheat that I used over there to change that. So that's the proper function is as simple as that. I think the text data is very, very easy to work with actually. So it just takes it and puts it into whatever you have. Then there are instances where, for instance, now if you look at this data, you find out that is towards the right, towards the left. If you look at, let me see, I have a numerical data. If you look at the numerical data yet, you find out that it's towards the right. So the text is towards the left. Pay attention to that. It's just a little observation, details that you can pay attention to. As data analyst, you pay attention to details actually. So
Sorry, can you take that again, please? Say that again, please.
Okay, so I said that if you look at text data actually, when you're working in Excel, text data is usually towards the left, right? In this text box now, you have it towards the left, right? And if you check it, a numerical column, a numerical text box, you find out that the data is towards the right. It's just an observation. So you find out that most of the time, or not most of the time, all the time, your text is going to be towards the left, while your numbers will be towards the right. So, and back to this. So we have proper here. Okay, so I said that proper. There's now there are instances where you might need to eliminate spaces. For instance, now if I put double space here, right, and I filled in double space, let me say multiple spaces, and I have, let's say I have a space here. Now if you look at this data, you find out that as I'm adding space to this thing, you can see that it's also affecting the one on the right. Oh, sorry, the column that we have adjusted, this proper one. So I think, for us to say, can I color this? Let's play with this thing. This is darker. So you find out that this is shifted, right? This is not proper actually. So these have spaces, and when you are collecting your data, you might not be able to eliminate it right from when you are collecting it, but when you are working with it, you will need to eliminate it actually. So to eliminate this, we use the function trim. So what trim does is basically it trims your spaces for you. It removes, they call them trailing white spaces. It is called trimming eliminates trailing white spaces. So these are white spaces that are just on the edge. Probably the person that entered the data just mistakenly put it. So it's actually useless. We don't need it. So that's why we actually use that. So we are going to use the trim. So let me apply trim here. So let me just put it here. So I don't want to make that, sorry. So you just call it equals to then trim, right? Then you put in the text. So the text is this, and I close this. Now you found out that this has eliminated all the white space. Now you might not know the other one. You might not be able to see the white spaces on the edge. So now you are going to see that when it comes to concatenating. So we call something concatenation. So concatenation is basically adding, no, it's not adding, it is joining things together basically. So you are joining. So if you have, this is, I'm sure we must have seen something like this: 1 plus 1 equals to 1 1. So in this kind of scenario, what has happened here is not addition but concatenation. These two numbers was concatenated together, so it was joined together. That was what gave birth to 1 1. And it's applicable to text. We use it in text. For instance, in this situation now where we have names, you can see we have names, comma, this, and we have country. So if you decide to, let's say, create an ID, a unique ID that includes the country and names together, so we could say ID, and we could concatenate these two together, the names and the country. So in this situation, what we use is, the function is actually concatenate. Yeah. Although there's concat is the short form for concatenate, right? But concat only works with two values, and I think it works with text. With values, actually, numbers. Though you can work with text if you try to do this. I think if you try to bring these two, this comma this, you try to bring them together, it will still work, yeah. But if I try to do multiple, I try to pull more, I should get an error. Yeah. So it's expected 2 arguments but received 3 arguments. So it's not going to take those two things together. That's why we use concatenate actually. So concatenate can say strings. So it means I can bring multiple strings together actually. So I'm still going to use it properly, but let me just show you. So let me just do an example with these 3 things. So I bring it together, and you're seeing it's concatenating them together actually. Although I can decide to be tricky with this. I could decide to put a space. So I put something like this, put a space in between, put a space in between this, do it like this, put a space and press enter. Find out that the space is actually coming to it, because you are basically just joining things. Just join anything you can see together, join anything in this box. So far as in this box, you are bringing it together actually. So there are cases where you might need to For instance, let's say you have a database of first name, you have a database of last name. So in a situation where you just need to bring those two things together, bring the first name and the last name together, all you need to do is concat it together. Now, I had to use space in between this thing, right? But there's another function in spreadsheets that allows us to not bother, and it is called text join. So text join basically joins your text for you. It joins it easily actually. So let's assume you have removed all truly white spaces. So after you have removed all truly white spaces, you want to join two texts together. So what you can do is you can just pick them. Let's assume, okay, so it's still the first example I'm going to use. Let me text joining, that's equals to text join. Yeah, this is it.
Hello, sorry.
Okay.
Just ask. Please, I hope we are recording this session. Just to check.
Yeah, our sessions are being recorded. Actually, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so I'm trying to join this together, right? Using text join. So delimiter here means what's apostrophe punctuation. Yes, what punctuation do I want to use? So what exactly do I actually want to use? It might not be punctuation actually, but what am I using to join it together? So all I do is I can use space, right? So I'm actually supposed to use space those things works, but let's just go ahead. We'll bring it all together. So I'm using this. Then you can always skip this. This is like, okay, if there are empty spaces, right? If it happens that along the line there are columns or there are cells with empty spaces, should I ignore them? So you can just put true, or you can actually just ignore it. So that will be in small letters actually. Sure. Then so what are we joining together? Okay, let's just join two random words together. Let's say data and analysis. Sorry, analysis and presenter. So this is going to join data analysis together. But usually it's, if you are using text and it's not really, it's best to just use columns like cell rows, cell identity. So use cell identity instead. So if I was to use cell identity, I would have done something like this. So in this situation, the space is going to come in fluently. Sorry, I should use this instead. So the space is going to come in easily actually. So it's pretty much simple. Like I said, text data are actually very easy to work with. They are not difficult at all. We'll still format this very well, but I just want to introduce us to the functions for text that we'll be using most of the time. Then the first one that I should have introduced is actually split. Yeah, so split basically just the word split data, split anything actually. So you can split it by in any format. So I was mentioning that we have to split this, right? So let's do that. So let me just first explain it somewhere here. So split, we call the function split, right? Then the text you want to split. So let's say I want to split this text. Then the delimiter. So like I said, delimiter from the, like this is what we actually want to split by, right? So we want to split by here. want to split by a comma, right? Sorry, it's supposed to be. So the rest of this is, you can actually just close this, right? You still get this. The reason why you are getting this is because you are splitting by comma, right? You want to split by comma. In this situation, I cannot split by both at the same time. If I decide to do split by comma and space, okay, oh, it's actually working. Let me see. Okay, what I usually do is I'll split it by comma, then also split by space, but it's taking it together. So it's splitting by comma and space. Now I was about explaining the, because I can see you are saying two other syntax, two other things. Now it's usually we don't usually need it. Actually, they're optional. You check it, it says optional. But what it means is, so I'll just explain so that we know what it means. So split by each is basically whether or not to divide the text around each character. So usually it's going to be true, but we say false. It's not going to split. It's not going to split. I think that's if it's taking multiple. Then remove empty text. So there are instances where you can have so after splitting, if you don't remove the empty text, you have an empty cell value. Just say you have something like Albertson, Katsi, then you have probably you have USA here. Oh, it's even giving me the option. I can't click, I can't delete it. I wanted to make I wanted to see something that wasn't correct, but it wasn't working actually. So I wanted to say, so you have something like Albertson, you have Katsi, you have an empty space, then you have USA in that kind of situation. So what you are going to do, having to um, take this to true, we just remove it. So basically we don't really need it actually. That's why it's actually not needed. So what we need is basically just the first, the text and the delimiter. That's what we want to separate by. So if we are to now, take these things and apply it to this colon now, for instance, these names are, let's assume they have names. These are their first names and their surnames. So what we are going to do here is we probably have another colon, right? So let me just delete this ID. Then have it here as first name. How do I like writing my first name like this? First name and last, sorry, name. So first name and last name. And to do that, we just have to use splits. Sorry, equals to SPLIT. So basically, when you are cleaning your data, these are the things that we actually bring in. Cleaning, trimming. So you perform texts. Let's say, let me see. So what's it we are doing again? So this and the delimiter we are using. That's a comma and space. I will close this. So you can see it has translated into Albertson and Katzen, and you can just do that magic. I think this magic, and it does everything for us. So it takes it, includes everything, and here we have it. But you could also, at this point, we should be able to do function inside function, right? So I have my country here. I think, is it well trimmed? Did I trim it? No, I didn't trim it, right? So in this situation now, so let's say I want to do everything together. I just don't want to do proper. I want to trim it too. So I could put this into, sorry. I use Ctrl Z. Come on. Okay, here's it. So I want to open another one and just put trim. So now I've in this function now I have trim and proper in it. So if I should extend what I have here now, that's an extending. Probably because it's there already. So if I should extend it now, I'm going to have it properly now. So in these situations now, what I have is I have a function inside another function. Okay, sorry. I have a function inside another function. So I have the trim, I have the proper function. I have the proper function inside the trim function. So I'm making sure that this is well in the proper case, and I'm also making sure that it is also the white spaces are removed actually. So I was trying to give an instance of, I think I did this. I think, how do we do this? Let me just cut this and move it somewhere. I don't want to remove it completely. I'll just push it to the end of this page. So okay, then I'll do this. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I should move the color, making it look different from the rest. So we have the country here, we have the first name, we have the last name. So if you decide to want to add this back, right? So let's say that you want to have the last name first. That will be, let's say, last name, comma, first name. Or let's say the way we usually have it, that's just first name. Put a knife in here. So try to have something like this. So what do we now have to do? We can just use text join to join it back. That will be text join. Then what do we want to join it with? That will be space. So space, this is not space, this is not name. This is actually space, and this is double space actually. If I use this and let's test it, let's see what will happen. Ignore empty. Yeah, true. And our text is this and this. So I close this and I click enter. This is our CCG mega judge. Sorry about that, some people are trying to join the class. So if I do that, this is what's going to happen. That was because this is just a symbol. This is nothing actually, it's an empty space until I put this, then it's big, then I extend this. So now if you look at this, there's no way I can actually try to make changes to this. Can I? Oh, okay, I can make changes to Kathy, but I can't make changes to this part of the data. The only thing I'm seeing is formula.
Sorry, excuse me. Sorry to take you back.
Okay,
You
no
said
problem.
the last name and first name, but you joined it by the first name and last name.
Oh,
Correct.
that was probably a mistake. Thank you for the observation. So I'll just correct that. I said last name, yeah, and first name. Okay, I missed, I had two brackets. So I have to do this, yeah. Thank you very much. So so here I have my last name and first name. So I've been able to join these together. But I was trying to make an instance where you have an empty space. So let's imagine I remove Michael, right? Can I remove Michael? No, I can't remove Michael. But I can decide to add I can try to remove this, yes. So I've removed this part of data, that's USA. So I just want to append first name, last name. I want to add their country to it. So now let's come back here. So that will be first name, last name, let's say comma, then country. So I'll come here and text join this. Now in this situation, what I'm not going to use is, since I've joined it and I want to append something else to this, I can decide to do everything inside this place, right? And put this inside another function. And I'm going to put that, sorry, what I like to do this. I'm going to put that side function. It's going to be concatenate, right? That will be concatenate. So I'm concatenating this, and I'm concatenating this with a comma and the country, right? And enter. So now I have it like this, right? Would this be perfect to explain? No, let me use, okay, let me just put this. Of course, one will not have country actually, and that's David Carlson, or Carlson David. It's not going to have any country because I already moved his country, and this is supposed to be enter. Yeah, so this is like just a way of formatting the data. So basically, if you are working with text, all you need to know is your functions, and you'll be good to go with whatever format you want to have your data in however it suits you. But just make sure that it's in the format that you want. The idea is you want to be able to control the data. You want to have full control over the data that's been given to you, and so that in any formats, in any, I don't know, I'll try and check if I could get a very rough data, one that is actually very, very rough. Yeah, that is not clean at all, that we can actually use. But the idea is to be able to work your way around whatever form of data that is being given to you, actually, whatever form, text, numbers, be able to manipulate. That's the whole idea of being a data scientist, and the reason why we are actually getting to use all these tools. So without much, I've explained proper. Of course, there are other more, like I think there's hopper. From the word hopper case, we check function text, that's a text. Yeah, there's upper, there should be upper, there should be lower, yes, there's right, there's just a whole lot of them, right, that you can actually use depending on what you want to do, depending on how free you are. I was trying to still make an instance of one, so I'm going to undo this, right? So I don't want to use this, right? The reason why I came here, the reason why I had to use this, because I wanted to explain something. So in the situation where this data is missing, right, what happens when you're using text join? So what I'll just do is I'll just use text join again. So I don't think it's strange using a function inside another function. So just use text join again to join this data. So our delimiter is also okay. Now it's a comma, right? So now ignore empty. Do we want to ignore empty? Let's say no. Let's say false. So we are not ignoring empty. And this is our text. The first one is our text, and let's say we are printing it with can I get to this place? Yeah. So we are doing that. No, this is supposed to be at the edge. I want the contour at the edge. Yeah. So I extend this to the rest. So I have this. Now the interesting part is that if you come to this data, right, there's going to be trading spaces because of this. Why? Because we have decided to not ignore empty spaces. There's going to be trading spaces here. So like, and trading spaces can affect your data. For instance, now if this is not the only data you have, for instance, you have multiple let's say you have sales, you have ID, you have employee numbers, you have their offices and their training spaces there, and you need to merge some parts, maybe multiple columns together. In that situation, when you are merging it together, if you allow for blank spaces, there are going to be trading spaces, like it's going to affect you. So you could decide to, that's, I'm just trying to emphasize the advantages of putting this to true. So when you set this to true, so you're not going to have, if you check this, when I put it to true, it didn't even bother adding anything. But when it is in false, you are seeing a comma. So like there's something that is, or is supposed to be something. But rather, if it does not see anything, it just automatically defaults. By default, put it to don't put anything for me. So basically, that it's just having full control over your data. Now I'm going to clean this off, of course. This, or should I just, let me just do it the proper way. So it's not supposed to be this. So we're supposed to have, let's just remove the country parts. So it's just first name, and this is okay. And I clean this off. Then clean the rest of this off right up to the equals to, so we can have a clean set. Yeah, okay, now it's more cleaner, right? So we have our last name, we have our first name. Yeah, so we could decide to, we've actually done the text. Like I said, text is nothing really much, but there are some other functions I'd like to introduce to us, and it has to do with date time. So in this instance, we don't have a date, right? So I'm just going to create one more column here, insert one column to the left, right? And I'll call it dates. So let me see, I think I have a data with dates here. So I'm just, I think it's the same data. No, it's not the same. I just need a set of dates. Copy. Back to sheet 3. Let me see. Yes, we don't need them. What's going on? Yeah, okay, so now we have dates, and of course date times is also more of like texts. You need to work with them, and currently yeah, a few of them, a few very important ones. For instance, like today, the today function, is it today? Yeah, today gives you today's dates. basically, whatever the date is. So this is like more useful when you're working with your reports, basically. So you can use this to generate today. I think there's now. Do I have something here? How do they function here? I think now. Yes. So now it gives you the time and the dates actually. So you have the current time, the time at which I enter this function till the second. So this is the time, this is the hour, this is the minutes, and this is the seconds. So it's giving it to the seconds. And you can also decide to extract meaningful other things. For instance, you can decide to extract year. You can decide to extract. Is this not dating? I think so. You can decide to extract day, day, year, months, hour, minutes, seconds from this. All you need to do is just call the function. I think if you come here, if you come here, same place where we have, I think we have dates. Do we have dates here? Yeah, dates. So here we have dates. So we have dates. We have day. We have hour, minutes, months, seconds, time, today, weekday. So depending on what you are doing, depending on data you are doing, but there are some ones that I really use actually. For instance, like weekday. Just call this weekday. The week number, right? So when you are trying to, for instance, I'm doing an analysis that has to do with dates, and I need to check over maybe a year, a data that was collected every day from January 1st to December 31st. Now I might need to observe if there's a trend, probably in the weekdays, or in the if it's over a year, if it is multiple years, for instance, maybe uh 5 years or 6 years, I could check if there's actually a trend in the week number of years. In the week number of each week for the year. For instance, the first week in the year is first. I think we have 52 weeks in the calendar, if I'm not wrong. So you can actually check with these values with these functions actually. That's why I said to use weekday and put it here. So I think this is weekday and this is week number of the week, and we have the other basic ones, that's today. Okay, I think I've said, okay, let me just put it here. This is today, this is now. We have here, we have months, we have hour. So these are more useful when you're working with data that time series data. I think I've explained time series data. Time series data are data that are collected over a duration of or period of time, and they are in an organized form. For instance, so it's not like I collected data today, yesterday. No, data is actually in order. So and we have time, time, minutes, we have seconds. So to implement that, just call year, then given this, and give it either one, it's going to understand it. Then months, then hour, then minutes, and seconds. Sorry. Yeah, so it's going to give you to the very last one you want. So basically, I think that's pretty much it's about data. And okay, so the last thing or the thing I want to show us is flitters, sorting and filtering. So your data, you need to filter your data, and you need to be able to sort your data in whatever form you want to actually. So we are going to start with that. So we have our data, we have names. So first of all, the first things I usually like to do when I have my data is probably to freeze up the first row, because they are usually going to be the headers. So freeze it up. So I usually just freeze up my first row. I just freeze it up and can try to unfreeze it, unfreeze row. So you can try to unfreeze it. But to use splitters basically, um, nothing difficult. So the reason why is you want to be able to filter. For instance, now let me go to this sheet. What do I have with this sheet? Okay, I think I have a whole lot on this sheet. So I have on this sheet is an house. Is it house? Yes, it's an housing price sheet, right? Data, the data sets of an housing price. So this is an example of an housing price data. So I have the agents, I have the days the agent listed the house, I have the area of the house, I have the listed price, I have the number of bedrooms, I have the bedrooms, like details about the bedroom, the square feet, the type of house, if it has a pool, and if it has been sold. So this is like a data set, a complete data set. So and we have some few details about it. So we can try to run some of the things we have been running. For instance, mean you want to know the total number of prices listed, you want to know the total number of bedrooms, you want to know the total number of bath, the size, you want to know the condo, sorry, the type. So like the count of the type, which one has more? Is it, did I have more condo, or did I have more uh single family house and pools, and so we can try to get analysis from this data. All right, so if I want to filter this data now based on let me see, so I want to filter this data based on the agents, right? So apply filter, I have to first of all apply my filters, and on which row will I be applying the filters on? So the first row basically, so I'll just right click and create a filter. It's as simple as that, just one click away. So with this I could click on this and pick out the what I want to filter for, right? So I could filter for maybe the area, right? What area am I looking for? What area do I need? Do I need just this? I have central, I have North County, and I have South County here. So if I decide to just use central, I'm just going to get for central. So I've filtered for just the agents, the housing's price with in the central region, in the central area, and you can see there's a filter applied to it. I could do this. I could also filter numeric values based on conditions. We have done conditions. So maybe I'm filtering for, so I'm just basically just filtering to this data set. So I'm filtering for, let's say, prices that are below 200. So that will have to be filtered by condition. So I'll just come to condition instead. Then I'll pick, okay, what do I want to filter for? That will be, I want less than, that will be less than, or let's say less than or equals to, then 200. So I think it's 200. Yes, and I click OK. Okay, Why don't I have 200? Lesser than or equals to.
I think he wrote it 20,000.
Oh, oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. So I have now in this situation, you can see that it's only giving me just 3. So I've successfully filtered for central areas, houses in central region lesser than this. So if I unfilter this and okay, let me see, just give me all the values. Okay, I'm still having just this. So if I remove this, none, I'm back to okay. So I have this back. So it means that there's no house in the central region that is actually lesser than 200,000. So you can safely assume that this central region is like places like Lagos Island, Lagos Islands in Nigeria, basically. So that's basically just filters. You can filter around whatever things you want to filter around. If it's here, you can filter based on, and also if assuming we have this colored, you could filter based on colors. For instance, you set colors for it. These are just, there are things you can just play around with basically when you are working with your data. You can try to color. I think it was when we were working on the sheet 3, I think I colored the parts. So you can try to color your data so you can filter if the data is, I think I have some data that I have some colors. Let me see. For instance, let me share this tab. So for instance, this is data. So on this data now, you can see that the whole task colors actually. So you can actually put in colors. I think in fact let's color this. Let's color the one we're working on. So let's put the color to it. So let's select all. Yeah, so I've selected everything. So to color it, yeah, I have few color. So I can add alternating colors and I can add conditional colors. So if I'm putting conditional colors, basically I'm going to be expanding this. So okay, so let's just say if what conditions do we put to it? I got so you add a conditional color to this. Okay, let's just do this. Let's just put the color scale. Just done. So basically you can add a lot of colors, you can add multiple colors. I might not be able to properly visualize the colors actually. I have colors, I have issues with colors. So but that's just by the way. So you can filter this based on this. And the other one which I've not mentioned is sorting. Right? So as well as you filter your data, you can as well also sort your data. Now if I decide to sort this data, for instance, I want to sort this data based on agents. If I click on this, right, sort, I should be able, yeah, sort sheet based on A to Z. So I want to sort based on agents. If I click on this, you find out that the agent rule has gone down. Actually, it has actually come to cell 13. So this is why I use contingent to undo. This is why I usually have to first of all freeze my column, freeze my first row since it's my header. So when I perform my sort operation on this row, right, when I perform my sort operation, it's not going to affect the first row. So the first row, you can see it's not even moving because for me it's now my header, right? It's now my header, and I can scroll from the top to the bottom without losing track of the particular column I'm actually on, in whatever is going on in each particular row. So that's why I usually freeze the first row for me. So, and I can sort this based on this. So if I decide to sort based on names, or let's say I want to sort based on the area, right? So what I just do is come to sort, and I sort this based on. So now it's going to sort. Now if you look at this, because I had sorted this first, the agent's name first, you will find out that the agent's name is already sorted. Then the area gets sorted, followed by, so like the also the order in which you sort also matters. So if I decide to add another sort here, I sort this. Okay, I can't sort. I can only, what's it called? Since this is a numerical data, I want to arrange it based on mm, based on the hierarchy. Which one is higher actually. I don't know if you understand, but this would not work. This works. Did it work? Okay, usually do it differently, but since this works, so this is sorting also based on from, yeah, the word is ascending order to descending order. That's what I was looking for. So it's sorting it based on the order since it's number, right? Well, I guess A to Z still works for it too. So you can actually sort this based on whatever way, but don't forget the first row was actually freezed. If I did not actually freeze it, it would have actually included it in the sorting. And of course you can freeze more than one rows actually, but the idea is you're only freezing the header. The header is the part of the data that is not part of the data. It's only giving you a description of what is in that column, like a short description basically of what is in the row, or sorry, what's contained on that column actually. So the header is usually not part of that, and there's some data you actually come across that you won't find any data, you won't find any header. So in that situation, there's always a separate data that explains what is in each specific row. Sometimes what you have in each row is just numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, just numbers. Sometimes it's just empty. So in that situation, what you're going to do is you have to probably create your own header, right? Because it does not make sense working with a data that does not have header. So you just have to create your own header or find the information for the header somewhere else. For instance, if you check platforms like Cargo, I think it was earlier in the course I mentioned Cargo. I don't know if you still remember. So I took us to Cargo, and on Cargo, sorry, let's see, data sets. So we have data that are there, right? And sometimes they might not have header. I think most of the time all the data there probably have header, since they probably be labeled. Let me check the information. Okay, I think this data have headers actually, yeah, but there are some sites you go to that you actually find headers there, and you'll be required to actually label it yourself, give it an header. So I don't really think there's anything much, so I don't think, is there any question like what we are supposed to do today is really not much, from text data to date time to sorting and filtering. So if there's any question, you can try to bump me up. So I want to reduce this a bit. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do anything complex actually. So I just want to reduce it a bit. So there are actually things that you can actually get from this data, like meaningful informations actually. So when you are sorting and filtering, for instance, now if you are being asked to get, okay, okay, I think the agents are unique. So you are being asked to check for which agent has the uh okay, check for houses in, let's start with simple ones. Let's start with check for houses in a particular area. So all you need to do in that situation is you probably just filter for one. So let's say we have been asked to check for houses in North County. All you have to do is probably just filter for it and you get all the houses in North County. All of it. All. I think I should be able to bring them to on that table. You see. So if I have to use salt, I think it's here. Okay, can't find it. So basically, if you have to check for a particular details. So for instance, now aside checking for, or we are being asked to, okay, check for houses in North County and for a particular agent. Let's say agent Barnes is a well-known agent. So you can filter for agent Barnes and unselect this and filter for agent Barnes and click OK. Oh, sorry. Why am I not getting? Oh, I didn't unselect for the rest. Oh, go to clear and select for agent Barnes. Yeah. So now I've filtered my view for only agent Barnes and areas in the North County, and I could decide to now put at the end of this a sum. Let's say we are going to get the list of all the prices he has, so that's sum. So from D2 to this, right? And let's put this, let's make it look like money. So we change this to, should we say pound? Pound is too much. Okay, let's just say pound. So now we have filtered for, let's be bolding it. So you have filtered for all the houses that are under AJ Browns in North County, and this is the sum. If you were to change your location, right? Okay, blanks. So we can check blanks. If you have to change your location to Central, that's taking away my sum. Let me remove the filter and apply this at the end. We also apply it here, sum. Yeah, so this is all the total of the sum, right? Sum prices, currency. I could try to change the currency here. Let's just change it. Let's put it to Naira. So these are all the houses actually that we have on this, not just for selector. Yeah, and that's true. I saw blanks. So I mentioned that you can have blanks in your data. Actually, you can have blanks. You can have blank data. So you can decide to filter and check and see if you actually have any blank data in your data sets. So you can unselect all, clear, sorry, and you check. So of course, as you can see, there's no blank data on this, right? So we are good to go. But usually you have blank data. You can have blank data on a particular column. You can have blank data on a particular column, so you might need to check for that. But of course, usually you see less and very little of that. So I think that's all for today. So the rest is just having to explore. You can just explore this. Like I said, it's endless, from agents to dates to the area to prices to bedrooms to the values we have here. It's You can keep exploring. So, but I think that's all we have for today, actually, physically. So, is there any questions? I don't know if there's anybody, anything, if it's well understood. Hello. Oh, okay, I was on the sheet balcony. Nobody's talking. It's like,
We are with
I
you.
think what's going to happen is there's going to be a class like that we'll have. Probably one of us will come to talk. I'll just keep quiet all through, because this other everybody just keeping quiet. But I hope it is well understood, actually. Like,
We are with you. Like the functions are numerous, so it's just for us to take our time and practice.
oh, okay, all right, sure, that's good. Well, I think basically for this, they are exciting to do, actually, and we'll bring that up. I'll probably drop them in the tax, basically, just to get some insights, like I said, from the data. But I think that's really it for today. So if there are not any questions, I think we can end today's class on time. So if there are no questions, I'd like to greet everybody good evening, and
So quick one, please.
okay.
So how fast can we get this video so you can serve as backup? When we are
I'll
when
try.
we want to revise. So
That's no problem. I'll try to make the editing today and try to upload it by tomorrow. By tomorrow morning, you will receive it that the video has been
okay,
dropped and ready.
because like Tito said, the functions are actually numerous, so you just need constant practice.
Yeah, I get more with yeah, constant practice, actually. Like, you need constant practice. If you're not practicing, like I said, you're not going to get it. Or you'll probably be getting it, you'll be getting the theory, you'll be getting the idea. But if you're not practicing, if you're not having hands on, then it's not useful. You won't be able to communicate. So you have to be able to communicate to others that, okay, I know this thing, and you have to actually practice it, not just by saying it. So until you have laid your hands and get your hands dirty, I don't think we have started. And I really want to implore us. I really want to implore us. Like, please, let's just find time. If it's 30 minutes, it doesn't have to be 1 hour. I don't have to. If it's just 30 minutes, if it's even per day, and just squeeze in 1 30 minutes, and maybe if it's just watch 15 minutes of the video. If you are in the class, if you're in the class, you just okay, visit the sheets, try to do something, like just 30 minutes. It's going to go a long way. If you can even do 30 minutes, I don't know if you can do it every day. I don't want to pressure as well. 30 minutes every day is not a big deal, actually. It's something you can just put in, and I'm sure you will see the results at the end of the day. So that's it. Any other question? Any other contribution? So I think I want to stop the recording. So in case anybody still wants to say anything.